Back in the book segment tonight, Weekdays with Bernie. Reaction to Trump press conference introducing the president-elect was the vice president-elect, Mike Pence, who scorched the press.
The irresponsible decision of a few news organizations to run with a false and unsubstantiated report when most news organizations resisted the temptation to propagate this fake news can only be attributed to media bias, an attempt to demean the president-elect and our incoming administration, and the American people are sick and tired of it.
And joining us now from Miami, Bernard Goldberg. So we'll get to the fake news stuff in a minute. The demeanor, Trump's demeanor, with the 250 reporters in that room, did you see anything that stuck out?
Yeah, it sort of reminds me of Monday Night SmackDown on the World Wrestling Entertainment show. You said earlier it was like a soap opera. Yeah, there's always a tension between the press corps and the president. In this case, the president-elect. There's always a tension, but it is going to be brutal for the next at least 4 years.
So you don't think that the press, you agree with me that not since Richard Nixon has an individual president been a target of the national media?
I think he's brought a lot of it on himself.
All right. But there is the, give him a chance mantra, which I don't think anybody, not anybody, most in the national media are not going to give him a chance. Now, Rivera thinks he overreacted to the fake news leak. Bowling doesn't. I don't. And I think it's a serious situation when a U.S. intel agency, and that's really what this is all about, all right, leaks out stuff after they present it to the President of the United States. So I want to get your feeling on it.
Okay. Generally speaking, and then I'll get to Trump in particular, fake news is an important story. And it's mainly because there are too many chuckleheads out there in the United States who give more credence to fake news than to real news. I mean, what person with half a brain could believe that Hillary Clinton was running an underage sex ring out of a pizza parlor in Washington, D.C.? You know what? People believed it,
yeah,
because one of them went to Washington.
Stuff.
They want to believe it.
Right.
Okay, in the case of Donald Trump, we all agree that what BuzzFeed did was journalistically irresponsible. It was reprehensible. But Donald Trump was wrong when he said that CNN was engaged in fake news. All CNN did was report that top intelligence officials gave a briefing to the president, to the president-elect, and to 8 key members of Congress, and they did it responsibly. They said that the report contained, quote, potentially compromising personal and financial information about Mr. Trump. That's not fake news. That's legitimate news, and it's legitimate news done the right way.
I disagree with you, and here's why. We had that story here at Fox News, and then when we tried to get some substance behind the story, and here's the substance, Goldberg, here it comes. Who's saying that? Who's saying it? Which person or organization is saying
that's not the story. The
well,
story
wait, let me make my case. All right? And when there isn't any answer to a question like that, when there isn't any credibility, you have to then talk about the smear factor, because unsubstantiated allegations against you or me or anybody else, all right, once they're out in the public, do an enormous amount of damage. So to even raise the specter of a damaging report against the Trump administration or him, the president-elect himself, without sourcing it at all, I don't think you report it. I just don't think you do.
I agree that if I had that information, I would not report it because I can't substantiate it. But we're talking about something different. At least I am. I'm saying top intelligence officials gave the President of the United States and the President-elect and 8 key members of Congress who are dealing with intelligence matters a briefing. That's legitimate news.
Okay, it is legitimate news, but you have to know what the
content.
You have to know. They could have said, listen, don't worry about this because it comes from some guy we know is a smear merchant, has no credibility. But here's what it was, just for your information. It's got to be contextualized.
then take it up with the intelligence agency, but not with CNN.
But we don't know. Look, I'm staying out of this judgmental stuff because I don't know what the basic decision was over at CNN. I don't know. So I'm giving your side, I'm giving Bowling's side, and I'm giving Trump's side. But to me, as a journalist, I just don't put out substantiated allegations against anybody, even if it comes to me from the CIA or something like that. I just don't do it.
So let me make sure I understand this. If you got a report that the head, let's say the head of the CIA, went to President Obama and said there's a report out there that says the following, and the following is something really nasty, and we think that it may leak and it may be used as blackmail against you. You don't think that's a news story? You don't think that's worth reporting?
I think it has to be. It has to be kept with the president and the intel agencies, unless there's clarification about who is putting this out. Because
so
you can create mass
so if they leaked it?
Chaos. The press can create mass chaos and defamation by putting out all the rumor and innuendo that floats in to the intelligence agencies.
BuzzFeed is guilty of that. CNN was very careful not to go into any detail.
And we're glad you're sticking up for them because we need to hear both sides of the story. Bernie Goldberg, everybody.